was amazing. Rosalie and Donna here with Jesus sat right on her back. Jesus had said, go into the village and you'll find a donkey tied there. Collect it and bring it to me. So I did. But I didn't think he was going to ride it like a king. Hello, girl. Oh, yeah, nice snort at me. It was amazing. As we were going down the street towards the Mount of Olives, there was this whole crowd of people singing and blessing Jesus, crying out, hallelujah. Then they threw their coats on the ground. So, what does it mean? Is Jesus our new king? Is he going to try and overthrow the Romans? I don't know. What do you think, Donna? It was uncalled for. The noise was incredible, the volume. But Donna was brilliant. She held her head up high and she just walked all the way. Such a good girl. She deserves a rest now. I think she's going to wander off somewhere and stop biting me. Deal?
Welcome on board our boat Easmore. She's taken us safely around Scotland, Ireland, Wales, France, the Netherlands and our own coasts in all sorts of weather. But nothing such as that we saw a couple of months ago. We were on our friend Peter's boat when we experienced truly unique weather. Peter's an experienced fisherman. His father's a fisherman, his grandfather and his great-grandfather before him. It's in his blood. On that day, we were with Jesus, who said, let's cross over to the other side of the lake. So we got into the boat and we set off. Jesus was exhausted. He'd been teaching all day, so he put his head down and fell asleep. Then, suddenly, a great squall blew up. There was thunder, there was lightning, and even Peter and Andrew feared that the boat was going to be swamped. We woke Jesus. Master, Master, we're going to drown. Save us. And what happened next was awesome, amazing. Jesus got up and scolded the wind and the waves. Quiet. Be still. And everything became calm. Then he turned to us. Why are you afraid? Do you still have so little faith? And I ask you, who is this Jesus, that even the wind and the waves obey him?
Claire. I'm one of the food bank team here at Portishead. I'm just actually sorting out some lovely things we've received today. You know, it's been amazing the amount of support we've had over this last year, and that's enabled us to feed over 1,700 people. But you know, that's tiny in comparison to what Jesus did. And I don't know about you, but I've often wondered what would it have been like to have actually been around to see Jesus doing some of those amazing things.
Oh, hello! My name's Mark. And a few months ago, me and my friend Saul, we went to hear Jesus speak. Well, we'd heard he was a pretty good speaker, and he'd done some strange things like turn water into wine and heal people, so we thought, well, we need to go and see that. So we got really, really early in the morning, and we walked for miles into the desert, because he was teaching it, in the middle of nowhere. It was very hot. But we didn't mind. Once we got there and we sat down and we listened to him. And we listened all day and late into the evening. But then, mind you, we were getting a bit hungry. Well, we'd forgotten to bring anything to eat. It didn't seem like we were the only ones. In fact, I was worried some people might faint on the way home. But Jesus was having none of that. He told us all to go and sit down in tiny groups, a bit like bubbles. And then he called this young lad up and he said, "Right, where's your lunchbox?" And he took it and he said, "Grace." And then he called the disciples over and he said, "Right, share that out." Well, the disciples, they looked a bit sheepish. I mean, it wasn't the biggest box. And it had 5 tiny loaves and 3 tiny fishes. Well, they did as they were told and they started giving it out. And it just kept coming. There was more food and more food. There was loads. And there were over 5,000 of us. Oh, I was stuffed. It was amazing. And you know what was the really amazing thing? Jesus didn't just think about himself. He thought about all of us and he thought about me. He cared for me and what I needed.
Well, we're all sat here because Jesus had a meal just like this with his friends. They all sat round closely together and they shared their food and their drink. They had some bread and Jesus passed it round. And he said, "Take this and eat it. This is my body and it is broken for you." And everybody took some bread. Would you like some bread? And they all ate and shared together. And then when they'd eaten, he took some wine. And when he poured some wine for his friends, he said this. He said that it will be the last time he will drink with them because he was going to die shortly after. And he said that whenever they drank it, they were to remember him and to remember that his blood was spilt for them as part of a new covenant. And so every time they were to drink after that, they'd remember their friend Jesus. So Jesus said some pretty strange things at that Passover meal. He said the wine was his blood, the bread was his body, but he was talking about the Passover celebration as it had been, when people would sacrifice a lamb and use that so that the plague of the Egyptians was going to pass over their house and God would save them. But that was in the past, and Jesus was talking about the future, the new covenant, the new promise, and that he was that lamb and his blood would protect them and they would be able to be closer to God. So the disciples didn't quite understand what he was saying at the time, but after he died and rose again, it started to become clear. But that's a story for another day.